Demetrius Salita getting involved there. Well, it started off pretty tame earlier, and the team.
Getting back to it, and that's what they're all been trying to do, you know, because he's thinking, if I can get this man angry, get this man mad, then he'll be.
You honestly think if these two come together like this, well, you know what's going to happen?
So we had the weigh-in for Itauma versus Jermaine Franklin, and the weight of Moses Itauma throughout the course of his career has kind of been, it's weird because even when Itauma's been heavier than this, and just to bear in mind, he weighed 242 pounds. That is a 7-pound increase from his previous fight against Dillian Whyte, but crucially, he is still 12 pounds lighter than he was when he fought Mike Balogan in May of last year. So we're seeing some pretty strange fluctuations, I guess it's fair to say, from Itauma. I mean, 254 against Balogan. He didn't look, like, Moses Itauma has never looked chiseled. He doesn't look in bad shape, but he's never been a Joe Six-Pack.
There's questions that my team want to know about me. There's questions that I want to know about myself, and I'm sure that there's a lot of questions that the fan wants to know about me as well. So I feel like Jermaine Franklin is the final piece of the puzzle. So when I get asked about other fighters, that's not going to happen if I don't get through Jermaine Franklin. So this is a serious fight, and I'm looking.
No, he might be one of the fastest guys, but I spar a lot of fast guys. You know, I think I'm ready.
Opponents like Bonnie Blue goes through knickers. Okay, I've come in hot. Okay, let's calm it down. But like a heavyweight should, he brings the excitement, the speed and agility for such a big guy, the power, and he's a southpaw to top it off. He's got it all. When you look at his attributes, he's gifted. He seems to be the full package, but the truth is, he's untested. And yes, I do know as a fighter, you can only fight the man in front of you, and he's been passing with flying colours. But when you do break it down who he's actually fought, Dillian Whyte, way past his best, inactive, a has-been, I'm sorry.
Moses Itauma just slapped the sh*T out of Jermaine Franklin at the weigh-in. And I mean, he absolutely cracked him across the face with zero hesitation. This wasn't some light tap or playful shove. This was a full-force slap that echoed through the entire venue and left everyone in complete shock. Franklin had been running his mouth for weeks, talking trash about Moses being overrated, calling him a hype job, saying he's never faced real competition. Well, Moses clearly had enough of the disrespect. The moment Franklin got too close and started pointing his finger, Moses unleashed that slap and instantly changed the entire dynamic of this fight. You could see it in Franklin's eyes. He wasn't expecting that level of aggression before they even stepped in the ring.
Kid on the block, Moses Itauma, who looks absolutely extraordinary, and for me he ticks all the boxes. I like his attitude, I like his style, southpaw, hard hitting, moves so well. He's going to be very, very difficult to sort of deter. So it's an interesting one because, yeah, is this too soon for Moses, or is this just the right fight at the right time?
Johnny Nelson called it perfectly when he broke down what really happened in that moment. He could see Franklin trying to get under Moses' skin, trying to drag him into some heated back and forth that would throw off his focus. But here's what's wild. Moses didn't get dragged anywhere. He responded with pure action. Nelson pointed out that Franklin was clearly trying to make this personal, trying to turn it into some messy street fight mentality instead of keeping it professional. But that slap showed everyone exactly who's in control here. Moses isn't playing games. He's not here for the trash talk or the mind games. When you disrespect him, he responds immediately. And that psychological edge is already massive going into this fight.
Punches are born. That's my saying. I've said it for years. Punches are born. They are not made. Itauma is a puncher. He was born to be a puncher. So people will expect him to get the knockout. Like Mike Tyson, similar. They were looking at the similarities. Knockouts, young. Matter of fact, there was some talk that maybe he could break Tyson's record and win the heavyweight title as the youngest heavyweight. That's not going to happen. That date has passed, that ship has sailed. But that was something they would think about. I think Frank Warren, his promoter, did the right thing. Rather than rushing it, he gave him the fights he needed to get more seasoning, more maturity, more development. And this is part of that. This is part of that journey. This is part of that job. And that is the job in developing a fighter. And I like him a lot. He's talented. He's technically sound. He's got Ben Davidson doing a good job. He had people before that. They've done a good job. He's technically solid. He knows how to fight. He can get you out of there by going to you and by getting you to come to him and counterpunching. He's got good hand speed. As I said, he's fundamentally...
Eddie Hearn knew this situation was about to explode the moment he saw them getting close again. He's been around enough fighters to recognize when things are about to go completely off the rails. That slap changed everything about this event. Security had to rush in immediately because you could feel the tension in the air. Everyone knew that if these two got within arm's reach again, it was going to turn into an all-out brawl right there on stage. Hearn's seen plenty of heated weigh-ins, but this was different. This was personal now. Moses had drawn a line in the sand, and Franklin was left trying to figure out how to respond. The whole energy shifted in that moment, and you could see it on everyone's faces. This fight just became must-see television.
50-50. Personally, it depends on what style he brings. So it's like, I think if he's like measured, then yeah. But if he does what I think he might try and do, which is I'm gonna show this guy, get inside and work like clever shots, I don't think so. I think with someone like Moses, who is naturally so explosive and so quick and technical, he's got so many good attributes. But as we've seen with in any sport, across any profession, that explosiveness, in my opinion, cannot happen for 12 rounds. It never happened.
Frank Warren was clearly not impressed with the theatrics, but even he had to admit the slap created something special. Warren's an old-school promoter who believes the fighting should happen in the ring, not at press events. But he also knows that moments like this generate massive interest and sell fights. He made it clear that they already had a strong matchup without needing the drama, but the reality is that slap just elevated this fight to another level entirely. The tension is real now. This isn't just about rankings or titles anymore. It's about respect, dominance, and who's going to impose their will. Warren might not love the chaos, but he knows it's going to put more eyes on this fight than any promotional campaign could.
Both got that, and who will prevail? Because I'm not being disrespectful, they're in their 40s, aren't they now? So the speed that they had a few years ago is not there. Their styles will blend to make it a real, as soon as that bell goes, right on top of each other. And they'll be
The weight situation with Moses tells its own story about his dedication and focus. Despite some fluctuations during camp, he came in looking absolutely razor-sharp and dangerous. Liam Goh highlighted how the numbers on the scale don't define Moses. It's his explosiveness, his intent, and that killer instinct that makes him special. After delivering that slap, you could see he was completely locked in mentally. This is a fighter who's been preparing for this moment his entire career. The weight cut didn't drain him or slow him down. If anything, he looked more focused and determined than ever. That combination of physical readiness and mental edge is exactly what makes Moses so dangerous going into this fight.
I get shit all the time on the internet, but what am I going to do about it? What can I do about it? I'll get fucking 5 years if I hit someone.
Moses laid out exactly why Franklin represents the ultimate test for him right now. This isn't just another stepping stone fight or a tune-up against some journeyman. Franklin has real experience, real skills, and a legitimate claim to being a top contender. Moses knows that beating Franklin decisively will catapult him into the elite tier of heavyweights. After the weigh-in drama, his focus became laser-sharp. You could see it in his eyes during interviews. This is a man on a mission. He's not just looking to win on points or survive 12 rounds. He wants to make a statement that sends shockwaves through the entire heavyweight division. The slap was just the beginning of that statement.
Well, you don't care, because you can care sometimes. Sometimes you'll see comments and you'll think, you cheeky bastard. You think, if I ever got fucking hold of you and I can get away with it, I'd fucking rip you.
Franklin talked a big game leading up to this fight, boasting about his hand speed, his adaptability, and his ability to solve any puzzle in the ring. He's confident in his boxing IQ and believes he can outthink Moses over 12 rounds. But after getting slapped in front of everyone, the pressure is entirely on him now to back up all that talk. Moses has already set the tone and established dominance before they even step through the ropes. Franklin needs to prove he can match that intensity and aggression, not just with words but with his fists. The mental warfare has already begun, and Franklin is playing catch-up. He's got to show he won't be intimidated or overwhelmed by Moses' physicality and presence.
That he has the propensity to put people away that others can't. I mean, I know that we talk about Dillian in that fight, but I think we saw Dillian White a year, 18 months later against Moses Itauma and saw all we needed to see then. Anthony Joshua was rebuilding, but on paper, if Moses goes through Jermaine Franklin, who's considered to be a difficult opponent, will make it difficult for him, and he knocks him out in a couple of rounds, people are going to see the wow factor again. They saw the wow factor against Dempsey McKean because they saw the principle of the fact that he took Hrgovic 11 rounds. They saw the wow factor against the perception of Dillian White. But it will catapult Moses, if he needs any catapulting, into a space where people are going to absolutely insist, insofar as the relevance of people insisting anything, that he goes in against what's perceived to be a top world.
But here's the brutally honest perspective that Lauren Sweet broke down perfectly. Moses has every physical tool you could want in a heavyweight: speed, power, southpaw skills, natural agility, and that explosive first step. But he's still largely untested against elite-level competition. His rise has been impressive, sure, but Franklin represents a massive step up in class and experience. This is the fight that will define whether Moses is ready for the big stage or if he's been rushed too quickly. That slap at the weigh-in wasn't just drama or showboating. It was Moses sending a message that he's mentally prepared for this moment. He's ready to prove his skill set isn't just hype, but legitimate championship-level talent.
Stuff I could capitalize off of. I have the ring experience to be able to show different looks and give different looks, so he hasn't really been tested as far as someone seasoned that can just give him different styles, change the looks of, not someone that's just gonna sit there and be a punching bag. So
do you think, I mean, he's never gone past 2 rounds so far, Jermaine. Do you think you could be the first to take him into what would be uncharted territory for Moses?
Well, yeah, I'm trying to be the first to beat him. Forget uncharted territories. I'm trying to be the first to give him to take away his O on his record. So, you know, I guess people think like when you got a young superstar that everybody else is just a walkover or a standing stone. But you know, I come to fight. I really come to give it my all and to.
Adam Smith couldn't stop praising Moses' complete package as a fighter. His attitude, his devastating power, that fluid southpaw style that gives everyone problems, every single aspect screams danger for any opponent. The weigh-in slap only reinforced his mental edge and showed he's not intimidated by anyone or anything. But the real question everyone's asking is about timing. Is Franklin the perfect test to showcase Moses' skills, or is he being pushed into deep water too soon? Either way, Moses looks ready to command the ring and control the pace from the opening bell. That combination of natural skill, unshakable confidence, and controlled aggression makes him an absolute nightmare matchup. Fans should expect a show-stopping performance that proves he belongs with the elite.
In my opinion, Jim, yeah, it is. I think that, you know, you've got to look at the styles. Moses Itauma, we saw what he done to Dillian White last time. You know, we expected Dillian White to give him rounds out in Saudi Arabia, and he didn't. He went out there and he absolutely obliterated Dillian in 1 round, took him apart. Southpaw style, very spiteful and very aggressive. Now, we know Jermaine Franklin, who's only lost to Anthony Joshua on points and Dillian White on points, and a lot of people felt that he actually won that fight against Dillian White. He's tricky, he knows how to hustle his way round. I've seen him in the gym, actually. I've been up close and personal with him, you know, through this training camp, and you look at it and you just look at the styles and you go, I think he's in trouble here against a young, fresh Moses who's very spiteful and starts very fast. It could be an early night for Moses Itauma if he gets.
Teddy Atlas laid it down with his usual clarity and insight. Moses is a natural puncher who was born to hit hard and hurt people. His technique has been carefully developed under proper guidance, and trainer Ben Davidson has molded him into a technically sound, disciplined fighter. People love making comparisons to legends like Mike Tyson. And while records won't be broken overnight, the hand's speed, timing, and counterpunching ability are undeniable. That weigh-in slap demonstrated his readiness to assert dominance even outside the ring. Moses isn't just powerful, he's intelligent, disciplined, and completely prepared to take control against Franklin. The mental preparation is just as important as the physical tools, and he's clearly got both locked down. Lawrence Oakley offered a measured perspective on what makes this fight so intriguing. Moses' explosiveness and technical skills create problems for any heavyweight, but Franklin is crafty and experienced enough to potentially exploit mistakes. Even if Franklin tries to rely on veteran tricks or untested tactics, Moses' speed, power, and precision could make it a very short night.